Am I overreacting? Boyfriend's best friend got him a sweater with her face on it for Christmas. January 1st, 2025. Boyfriend told me his best friend wanted to get awkward family photos taken at a department store while wearing ugly Christmas sweaters. Fine by me. Fun little thing for them to do. But today he calls and tells me she gave him the sweater they were gonna wear, and it's a custom-made sweater with her dogs and her face on it. He made it clear he didn't know about it and doesn't want me to feel like he's wearing another woman's face like he loves her, but more like he loves her dogs. It more so threw us both off as it's an extra. We've talked about this girl multiple times and my feelings about them and boundaries. He only recently changed her name in his phone as half-girlfriend from an inside joke. And it also upset his ex, and it took me telling him it made me uncomfortable for him to change it. I know he sees me as a priority over her, but I can't help but feel uncomfortable about this. Am I overreacting? January 2nd, 2025, one day later. I really didn't expect my first post to get the response it did. Wow. But here's an update on the situation. Last night I worked NYE while my boyfriend had the night off. He was going to go get the Christmas photos taken with his best friend, but when they realized the store was closed, they just went over to her place to hang out. He looked me in the eyes before I left and told me he wasn't going to drink, but when I called him after I got out of work, he was drunk, as his best friend told him to do shots. He's gotten drunk at her place before and stayed the night without telling me beforehand, so I really didn't know if he was planning on staying or not. I was upset, and he could tell and asked me to pick him, except it would be an hour worth of driving for me, after an extra day of work, to go pick him up. Thankfully, someone gave him a ride home. I ended up going home, calling a friend of mine and talking things through. He agreed that the sweater thing was weird, and the time I'm on the phone, my boyfriend calls me 5 times. I eventually hang up and call my boyfriend. He's crying and a mess, and I can barely understand him, so I get up to go see him. I've had a history of bad panic attacks, and I know how bad they are and didn't want him to be alone. He had a mental health episode and kept spewing self-hate and asking me what I saw in him, not living up to his potential, on top of a lot of other things that I didn't understand in the exhaustion/drunkenness. I let him stay the night at my place because I knew he didn't want to be alone, and I was worried about him, but soon after we got home, he threw his empty vape across the room and started beating his fists on the couch and yelling, complaining about a game. I was getting incredibly concerned because I'd never seen him act like this. He almost immediately passed out after the outburst, though. He admitted he doesn't know what's been going on, but his mental health has been in a bad space lately. Last week we got in a bad fight while we were drunk with yelling and crying. We talked things through though, and I figured we'd talk things through when we woke up, but I already wanted to send him home and be alone with his violent behavior. But he started crying when I brought it up. He spent most of the day sick in the bathroom. He said he only did 2 shots all night, so I'm not sure if he's lying or if he just ended up with a stomach bug at a bad time. At one point, he was in the bathroom and his phone wouldn't stop ringing. After the 3rd phone call, I got up to look, and the call was from Greenheart1/2GF Greenheart. The moment he came back out, I told him he was leaving and he was single, and I would be ordering a lift for him home. You were all right that the half-girlfriend thing was the big red flag, as weird as the sweater was. It hurt me the first time he said it, and we discussed it, and he said it was a joke, but promised he understood and would change it in his phone. When I brought it up to him, he said that she had asked him to change it back, so he did. I told him he'd chosen her over me. The history behind the name is that my boyfriend used to live with her and her ex was so terrible that by comparison my boyfriend was better to her, and so she would call him her half-boyfriend. My boyfriend actually had asked her out in the past, but she rejected him, saying they were better off as friends, and he agreed, saying he didn't want to date her. Obviously, though, she has no respect for me or for my relationship, and I can't trust my boyfriend when he's around her, so he is no longer my boyfriend. I'm a bit of a mess right now, to be honest. I'm exhausted from dealing with him and not sleeping because of it, and all of this is made worse by the fact we work together, and our coworkers have been very supportive. But I feel like I've made the right choice in breaking up. Here's to starting off 2025 single.